When Netflix and Marvel announced their deal to produce 4 live-action superhero shows way back in 2013, fans everywhere were ecstatic. Popular characters Daredevil, Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, and Iron Fist would all be getting their own standalone series, and then they would all come together for a small-screen superhero team-up, The Defenders. Here was an opportunity for Marvel to bring the same kind of shared universe it had created for the big screen to TV. The matchup with Netflix, which had only been releasing original content for a couple of years at this point, seemed perfect. Netflix was blazing a trail for unique series that were unlike anything that could be found anywhere else, and would give Marvel the creative freedom it needed to bring these 4 gritty street-level heroes to life. The first series, Daredevil, hit the streaming service in 2015, with the others coming out over the next 2 years. Then, after the second season of Daredevil, a 5th character, the Punisher, was spun off into his own series. While the shows weren't all equally loved, the Marvel shows of Netflix were still seen as an important cornerstone of the platform, drawing in new subscribers and see a part of Marvel Cinematic Universe that wasn't available anywhere else. That's why fans were surprised when Iron Fist was cancelled in October of 2018. It was considered the weakest of Netflix's Marvel series, but the cancellation came shortly after the debut of its second season, which critics and fans agreed had been a big improvement over the first. Then the cancellation of Luke Cage was announced quickly afterward, and fans started to get worried. After all, Netflix has a history of renewing shows that are well past their prime, so why would it torpedo 2 of its tentpole shows? After that, the axe really fell. About a month after the 3rd season of Daredevil hit the streamer, Netflix announced its cancellation as well. At that point, the writing was on the wall, and fans suspected it was only a matter of time before the 2 remaining Netflix Marvel shows, The Punisher and Jessica Jones, bit the dust too. A month to the day after the premiere of The Punisher's second season, Netflix announced its cancellation, and threw in the news that Jessica Jones wouldn't be continuing after its 3rd season later in 2019. So, what went wrong? Well, we're here to break it down for you. In this video, we'll explore the reasons behind Netflix's decision to cancel its Marvel series, from rating woes to creative differences to streaming rivalries. Typically, when a show gets canceled on a traditional television network, the first thing we do is look at the show's ratings. Netflix is famous for being secretive about its viewer numbers though, so we don't know for sure how many people really watched its Netflix series. That hasn't stopped a number of analytic companies from stepping in to try to figure out the number of viewers that watch the streamer's original content. And, according to their numbers, the news on Iron Fist and Luke Cage wasn't good. A San Francisco company called JumpShot found that both shows lost almost 2/3 of their viewers between their first and second seasons, with Iron Fist shedding 64% and Luke Cage 59%. So from Netflix's point of view, this drop in viewers simply may not have justified the hefty budget to continue producing these series. What about the ratings for Daredevil, the 3rd Marvel Netflix show to get the axe? Daredevil was always believed to be the strongest of the batch. Not only was it the first to debut, it was well received by both critics and audiences. Although Season 2 dipped in quality, Season 3 was seen as a return to form and was greeted with rapturous reviews from critics and fans alike. So a 4th season was already anticipated when Netflix announced Daredevil's shocking cancellation. Was this a ratings issue as well? JumpShot's data shows Daredevil's ratings declined 57% between Seasons 2 and Season 3 during the show's first week of release, another significant drop. However, another company, Parrot Analytics, broke things down in a different way. Based on their data, Daredevil was Netflix's 4th most watched show in the week that the 3rd season premiered. In fact, based on the viewing numbers for all of the shows on Parrot Analytics' list, no show reached the height of Daredevil in its Season 2 heyday. As of now, no data has been published about the ratings for The Punisher's second season. Jessica Jones' 3rd season hasn't even come out yet. But regardless of what those numbers might be, one thing is certain: the amount of original content on Netflix has exploded in the past few years. So it's possible that no show on the platform reaches the same number of viewers as it did when there were fewer original series to choose from. This could lead to declining ratings for any show, even the most popular ones. So if ratings weren't the only issue, what else was behind these cancellations? It turns out, there was also some behind-the-scenes drama that led to a strain in the relationship between Marvel and Netflix. This drama stemmed from the creative differences between the 2 companies about the direction of Luke Cage. Apparently, the scripts for the 3rd season of the series were almost completed when negotiations of Netflix and Marvel broke down. The major issue was Netflix's desire to reduce the number of episodes for the 3rd season down to 10, and drop the 13 of Luke Cage's previous 2 seasons. While Netflix and Marvel hashed out the episode count issue, Luke Cage's writer's room was put on hold for a week in September of 2018. Once the writers were back at work, they drafted new scripts for the first half of a 10-episode season. When Netflix saw them, though, some executives didn't like the creative direction the show was taking, so they demanded change in the series' creative team. At that point, things completely broke down between Netflix and Marvel. Canceling the show became the only real option for resolving the impasse, so Luke Cage went from being almost certain for renewal to cancellation in a matter of days. Did the fallout from Luke Cage also factor into the decision to cancel Daredevil? It was reported that showrunner Eric Olson had pitched a fourth season of the show to Netflix and Marvel just 2 weeks before the cancellation news came out. When Netflix announced the cancellation, it even acknowledged the creative heights of Daredevil's third season. In a statement, Netflix said, "Although it's painful for the fans, we feel it is best to close this chapter on a high note." This implies that the streamer wanted to end the series before it went downhill. That can be a consideration for the creative teams, but it rarely factors into a business decision like the one Netflix is making by canceling Daredevil. Not to mention, by the time Netflix axed The Punisher and Jessica Jones 2 months later, creative issues weren't mentioned. The company's statement merely announced that The Punisher wouldn't be returning. It also stated that the decision to announce the cancellation of Jessica Jones before the release of its third season came from reviewing its Marvel programming. Also, when it came to Jessica Jones, there was another big issue. Melissa Rosenberg, the series' creator who led the critically acclaimed show through its 3 seasons, was departing. So someone new would have to come take the reins if there was to be a season 4. With all the turmoil and creative upheaval between Netflix and Marvel, the combination of declining ratings and an increasingly tense relationship may have been to blame for what happened. There's one more factor to consider though. Marvel's parent company, Disney, will soon be launching a streaming service of its own called Disney+. Disney announced plans for streaming service in 2017, but it wasn't until the summer and fall of 2018 that plans really started picking up steam. Netflix currently includes many of the newer MCU movies, but once Disney+ launches, Disney is expected to take back their films. In addition, Disney announced that it planned to make a slew of new Marvel shows centered on some of the popular characters fans know from the MCU, including Loki and Scarlet Witch. More importantly, the actors who played the characters on the big screen would be reprising their roles for the series. So not only is Netflix going to lose a series of popular films, its Marvel TV shows would be in direct competition with the original Marvel shows of Disney+. And the shows on Disney+ would feature characters and actors that are widely known from the extremely popular MCU movies. Netflix doesn't even own the intellectual property for its Marvel series, so this probably came across as a losing proposition. By continuing to put out new seasons of its expensive Marvel shows, Netflix would essentially be advertising for their competitors' Marvel shows. Not to mention, Netflix has probably already attracted all the subscribers it's going to because of its deal with Marvel. Plus, over the last few years, those subscribers have likely already discovered other content on the streaming service that they like, so Netflix probably won't lose any subscribers, even if their original reason for signing up was to watch Marvel shows. In other words, from a business perspective, Netflix's Marvel shows were offering less and less of a return on Netflix's investment with them, and once Disney+ launches, they could even help their competition. So, is there any hope we'll see these street-level heroes again? Well, never say never. When the cancellation of Daredevil, Luke Cage, and Iron Fist were announced, fans were hoping the series might find a new home at Disney+. But since then, Disney CEO Bob Iger has said that Disney+ will only have family-friendly content. Given that the Netflix Marvel shows were decidedly adult-oriented, it's doubtful they'd be a fit for that upcoming platform. Disney has said its more PG-rated fare will go to Hulu, so it's possible the shows could be revived there. Craig Erwich, Hulu's senior vice president for originals, has even said that not only would he be open to the possibility that Hulu has a good relationship with Marvel. One wrinkle that could derail any reboot at all, though, is the original agreement between Netflix and Marvel. According to the terms of the deal, none of the characters from Netflix shows are allowed to appear in any non-Netflix content for at least 2 years after they've been canceled. So the absolute earliest any revival could happen would be in fall of 2020, and that date is even later for Jessica Jones. By that time, Disney Plus's other Marvel shows should be well underway. Plus, the original actors from the Netflix Marvel shows would have most likely moved on to new projects by then. So, even though rebooting the series isn't possible, it's highly unlikely. Still, some hope was offered by Marvel itself. After the announcement of the cancellations of The Punisher and Jessica Jones, Marvel television boss Jeff Loeb penned an open letter to fans. Not only did he celebrate the shows Marvel produced for Netflix and thank the fans, he also left the door open for more, writing, "Our network partner may have decided they no longer want to continue telling the stories of these great characters. but you know Marvel better than that. As Matthew Murdock's dad once said, "The measure of a man is not how he gets knocked to the mat, it's how he gets back up." To be continued. So if Jeff Loeb has anything to say about it, perhaps we'll be seeing these heroes back on the small screen soon. As you can see, the reasons Netflix and Marvel are severing ties are complicated and contentious. If you're a fan of Netflix's Marvel shows, you can comfort yourself with the knowledge that the existing season will remain available on Netflix to stream again and again. And between Disney Plus and Hulu, there will be a lot more newer Marvel content hitting the other streaming services soon. So even if it isn't the street-level heroes we met on Netflix, fans will have a lot of other heroes to get to know over the coming years. Thanks for watching.